Hello, good afternoon. I'm going to present an open social learning experience developed by the Open University of Catalonia. That's a completely online university. For the presentation, I organized the content in these 5 points. First of all, the motivation of the project, to go through the process and some details about the experience, how was the idea, how it grew up, and what really happened. We will end with evaluation and sub-conclusions. First of all, about the motivations, just say that we had 2 main motivations for begin this project. One was the need for innovation. We want to innovate a new course, and the interest of creating a new social, educational, and technological context. So that's why we established this objective, that was to test an open learning model with using an open environment with open resources and based on the methodology of the participation and collaboration of the users. I had a beautiful video, but as I can access to internet, I skipped this step and I explain all the process then. First of all, we had a clear idea. This clear idea was to do something open, something of open social learning. And then once we have the idea, a lot of questions appear, like what environment to use, what subject to treat, what methodology to establish, which is the role of the facilitator, and what are the role of the students, and also how to organize all this learning environment. The answer of these questions designed the course. Here you can see how was this course. The main objective was to create a learning community able to self-manage their learning process, in which the teacher is no more a teacher, is an expert that participate the same that the users do, and then we call it a non-teacher during the experience. The subject we chose was this one you can see, Journeys 2.0, because we thought it was a very interesting subject that could interest to a lot of people, and it related with the subject of open, the 2.0. Moreover, the contents of this subject were under the license of Creative Commons, concretely with attribution license. That means that the user could customize all this content during the concrete course. The activities we designed for this learning environment was the participation in forums and also the creation of a blog about or related with the subject, traveling or Journeys 2.0. So, with these characteristics, we create 2 courses, one in Spanish and another one in Catalan, using the groups of Facebook. We create these courses during 5 weeks with no filter range. That means that everybody could join us, and just sending us a questionnaire showing the interest of doing this course. For the marketing, we use Facebook and also the work marketing systems, that's some news in the campus and some news in some media. At the end of the course, the certification for the users was learning and also an email and a gift. So it wasn't an official certification. So let's see what happened using all the data we have from the experience. For the evaluation of the experience, we used these 3 evaluations: a quantitative evaluation using the participation data. The second evaluation was an ethnographic one using the context of the messages of the forums. And the third evaluation was from the users, that comes from a final questionnaire that 20 users fulfilled. Here you can see the data from the quantitative or from the participation. As you can see here, the Spanish edition was more active and more more users were interested in this course. 52 users joined the course, but finally just 14 were active participators. In the Catalan edition, 37 users showed interest and joined us, but at last only 13 participated. So more or less, both communities were very similar, but as you can see at the end of this graph, in the Spanish edition was very active, as 155 posts were sent in the forums, and in the Catalan edition, just 87 posts in total. Another data that show us the activity of the Spanish edition is that either the teacher, the non-teacher, and the users were able to create discussions forum, but in the Spanish edition, the teacher creates 7, and 2 of them were created by the users. In the Catalan edition, just the teacher creates forums. About the ethnographic evaluation, we use these 3 categories: the content type, the reason to participate, and finally, the content type when the communication was peer-to-peer. About the content types, said that the analysis of the messages, we saw that the messages were only for information content, not different to the subject they were treating in the course, that was journeys or journeys 2.0, and the tone was neutral. When the content time was for peer-to-peer information, peer-to-peer communication, the content was about doubts resolution, provision of information to help the others, or critical intervention, or we find also messages for agreement. But the main reason to participate, we must say, was to answer the non-teacher, the intervention of the non-teacher. One thing that we want to break with, but we couldn't. About the user's evaluation, this data was from the final questionnaire. We had some items, and the students, the users answer in a Likert scale. So in the x-axis, you find a scale of 5, and in the y-axis, you find the number of students answering the questionnaire. So we highlight in this presentation some aspects of these questionnaires, like the positive evaluation of the semi-direct methodology, and also the methodology, the item related with the participation, in which in the Spanish version is the left one. They valued very good the methodology to favor the participation. You can see that in Catalan, this item is not so well valued. So we associate this data with the lowest participation in the Catalan edition. Also, the activities were well valued. We can find also difference between Spanish and Catalan edition. And finally, the role of the facilitator was well valued for in both courses, but some difference, as you can see, in the Catalan edition. Another data we want to share with you is how the users value their participation. As you can see here, there's a big difference between Catalan and Spanish edition, also related, we think, with the lowest participation of the Catalan one, where the users valued in a low way their participation, nor in the Spanish one. But the global evaluation of the course, as you can see in the last graph, is quite good for the general course in Facebook. This questionnaire had an open question in which we collect this information you can see here. The general opinion of the users was good, but they criticized some aspects of the course, like the tool was a little bit rigid. Another information was that they did not observe how many people show interest in participate, but at the end they didn't continue the course. Some reflections we find is like, at the beginning I felt I was not sure I was assimilating the content, or it's a fun way of learning. But how about the people who didn't participate in the course? These people that joined us but finally didn't participate in any forum. We tried to contact them to know which was the reason for that. And we contact with 15, and they say things like this, that finally they didn't have time enough to follow a course like this, or it was a bit lost within the Facebook structure, or they weren't interested in a self-learning methodology like this, or they missed the course because they didn't receive notifications from the Facebook platform. Another reasons were personal issues. From all this data, we can conclude with these 5 important points. One is that the structure of the activity is still quite facilitator-centered. We tried to break with this, but we couldn't. Another important aspect is 5 weeks is not enough time for students to know what they must do, what they have to do, and to understand this new methodology or this open methodology. So we must consider in the future more time for them to adapt to this new methodology. Another conclusion is the lack of commitment with free courses, and we can see a lot of people were interested, but finally so few people continue the course. We think it's because it was free and then they are not obliged to continue it. We think it would be good to have little objectives for the users to be engaged in these courses. They criticize the rigid architecture of Facebook. One thing that happened was that during the course, Facebook changed their interface, and students ask what's happening here. I prefer the oldest interface, but we couldn't manage that. So we can't control these changes the platform suffered. So one important conclusion is that we have a trend to return to the traditional ways to learn, where the teacher is the most important and the students just answer the questions the teacher do. So these conclusions help us for future courses, open courses, but open another important questions that we can talk about, like the motivation. What can we do for motivate the students without having an official certificate, for example, or without having evaluation or of a clear result? Or another question we can, sorry, I look at my papers. Another question we can do is how we can break with this traditional way. How we can do users participate without the important paper the teacher has in this kind of communities. So thank you very much.